So today we're going to see something more subtle. Okay, it's not as fancy as other ones, but I think yeah, it's a nice exercise to work with values, work with all our maps, and usually when you're making environments you want your materials to be reused a lot of the times. So yeah, you don't want, or you don't always want hero materials. Okay, so very simple. Dry grass, it's really simple. We're going to see this. I've only have two renders. One is this, and the other one is this, and this is on OpenGL. And I kind of like this because it kind of makes it like it was photoscan, even though it wasn't photoscan. But anyway, let's jump into Substance Designer. Even though it feels that it's simple, yeah, it's kind of, it's kind of a little bit, it has some complexity in itself. Of course, you can add a lot more stuff on top of this. For example, if you want, you can also add grass, grass plates, or some other stuff we have added, like footprints and stuff like that. You can add them. There's no point in doing every time the same stuff, so I don't do it. Now, let's see. Of course, with this, we're going to start with a ground. And for the ground, you can see that it's not something. Let's see, something like that. Okay, it's not something. And this will be open like this. Noise levels, because we want to crunch up a little bit the values. We don't want these black areas because it's going to look like holes. Although, let's see, it doesn't make that much of a difference. You will see, I don't know if you're going to notice it in the video, but it only makes these areas a little bit more sloped. Okay, but overall it's still the same. Then we'll do a warp with, well, okay, just a little bit, or you can go crazy with this. Let's see. It's not really going to show that much because we have a lot further down the line, so it doesn't really matter at this one. Okay, then directional warp. This one will start to show. I'm using, this time we used clouds 2 25. You can see the angle, and we start introducing some areas like this, which is basically detail information that we don't want too much of this, because this will also end up into our height. Okay, so we want to be a little bit careful with this. And then we have slope blur grayscale, and then from the slope blur grayscale I want to take this because we can use this, and we're going to work with a roughness down here. Of course, metallic is this, and after I have this, and before we see a roughness, I'm going to use a non-uniform blur. Okay, intensity, I've raised the anisotropy, and you can see that we start introducing a few striations, which they kind of give the rocks, or the ground beneath it, they kind of give it an interesting shape. Okay, so from over here we can get the first pass of our normal map, which is also intensity at 10. Let's see if we make it 20. It's gonna make everything pop even more. But in this one I don't necessarily like that it's so extreme, so I'm going to drop it down, or maybe I'm going to bring this one up again. Let's see. Yeah, it might be a little bit too extreme, and at some areas it just makes it so too pronounced. So don't necessarily like it. So let's go and bring it back to 10. So we have again something more soft. Or maybe we can compromise and do 15. Nah, that's still too much. Let's go with 11. And okay, and I'm going to create now a curvature and a smooth, because it's kind of a cleaner map. We're not going to use this ambient occlusion or curvature smooth, but we're only just going to create a dirt mask with this, because if we were creating it after we have added the microsurface, we'll be getting something that, well, yeah, because we introduce a lot of breakup. Okay, you can see that it will just break some stuff. So anyway, okay, and yeah, and then it's ready to add the microsurface, which is going to be this in the end. Okay, with just a normal combine and then levels a normal. Now let's see the roughness. Let's see the microsurface actually. And while we're here, we almost have our height ready, which is this, and we're going to, adjust the height. Basically, I'm going to crunch a little bit the values, or crunch them a lot, because I want to add and introduce my, a few branch looking things, or they could be dead leaves or whatever. Let's just these yellow things you see. Okay, nothing too sophisticated, just a little bit stuff to, just adding a little bit more detail without being too extreme with it. Okay, and then we output on the height. So this, which we're going to call branches, how I did them: took a shape, capsule, pattern specific, okay, rotated 90 degrees, and directional warp, okay, pale noise, zoom, different distances, and then slope, blur, grayscale, okay, mean, and then I'm adding a gradient on top of this. Okay, you can see this, nothing really major or something we haven't seen before. And then we do a splatter, so we throw this everywhere. Then we do a warp after the splatter, so that they don't all have the same uniform or the same bent. Okay, and from over here we can basically separate this. So one will go on the height, the other one will create a little bit of microsurface on top of this with just fractal sum 1, and you can see what it's going to do, because this one is just all like this. It didn't exactly look nice on top of on our normal map, because it was just too smooth. So we want to introduce a little bit of artifacts. Oops. Now we want to multiply, and with this we basically start with black and white spots, levels, and then we blend it. We start creating what's going to end up as microsurface. Just by choice, I just blend them all together and then turn them into a normal map. Of course, you can break them apart, or if you want to have details that are going to sit, more pronounced than everything else, then you can add another pass and another pass. Now, I want to add this few stuff that I'm going to call moss, but I don't know, you can call them whatever you want. You can call them jack. Okay, so for Jack we're going to get moisture noise levels. Okay, and basically what I do over here, I want to create a mask, but this one gives us a few problematic areas because you see this is just too uniform to end up. So I do want to use this as a mask, but I also want to use this to make something of it. Okay, so basically break the areas and that it looks like something like moss or something like that, or Jack. Okay, so I'm blending them both together. You can see that we eliminate most of the problematic areas. We still get some of this that can be problematic, but yeah, in the end it doesn't really. So like this could be a flower or something that has grown more than the other ones, but the main thing, our main issue, that we got rid of all this. It's basically here, it's done. Okay, and just as it is, we're blending it with max lighten on top of you know, and basically we can probably go even lower this. Yeah, so this will make it a little bit less pronounced. Might like it the way it was before, you might like it this way. Let's go with this way. Okay, and this is the end of the micro surface, and we're throwing it on the normal. If you raise this even more, you're going to get, as you can see, a different type of ground, or more pronounced with more details. Okay, but this kind of makes it like it was muddy for some reason. Okay, that it gives me that impression. So I went with 1 because maybe it kind of starts to give a more pronounced elevation, or you know, less uniformly ground. So it kind of gives the impression of the striations you usually get on mud and stuff like that. Okay, and after that, yeah, we have our normal. The levels, we just get rid of the alpha. I don't know why, but every video I see does this, so you know, let's copy them. Okay, so base ground, let's see the roughness from our base ground. We have this. Okay, but we don't want we basically want the opposite of this. So the lower areas should probably be less shiny, and bigger plateaus like this should probably shine if we want them to shine. So what I'm doing, I'm just inverting the grayscale, and then I'm going to basically destroy all of it by using cloud 3. Okay, multiply on top of this, just get the freckles on base, and then multiply and mid darken all of this, so we break up the uniformly, or the uniform color, and you can probably see it. Let's try a rounded cube. Yeah, maybe it's too small to see. But it basically just breaks up the ways a little bit where we're actually going to add, but after we blend them, I'm adding a levels node. Probably that's why it doesn't show that much. Okay, we can lower this also. This will make everything shine, but we don't want them to shine. Let's put it, or let's control the. Okay. And then we have I wanted to just take the curvature as it is. As you can see, this is kind of interesting shape to work with, so it has some values, and then we can get this and basically just, you know, make a few areas shine. So as you can see, most of the stuff we did here doesn't really matter since it's going to be overwritten. Or we could just maybe, you know, break the chain a little bit, and maybe if we add it like this, maybe overlay, and let's go with max lighten. Nope. Yeah, this kind of makes it a little, yeah, makes it look a little bit too wet. Yeah, well, this, and now you can see you also get a double rainbow. Okay, and yeah, I guess this can also work like this, but anyway, let's just put it back where we were. Oops. Let's go with this, let's go with this, and I believe this was being darkened. And let's see if we get rid of this, like this, maybe add linear. Anyway, okay, so that's pretty much for the roughness. After that, I'm just using max lighten on the branches, and not all of them will actually show, but you can see that. So, you know, right on the top of the edge. Okay, you can see it. It doesn't really, so that they don't sparkle, or, you know, they don't shine, because it's supposed to be a curve, so, you know, there's a lot of areas the light will bounce off. Yeah, that's pretty much the roughness. But basically the meat of this, of all of this, okay, curvature and ambient occlusion, we've done this 1,000 times, nothing special. But yeah, again, the meat of this, of all of this, is basically our colors. And I like the rounded cylinder, so I'm going to leave it at that, and maybe leave it like this, so we get the nice shadowing from over here, and so we get two types of light. Anyway, yeah, so I start with a base color, okay, and then I take grunge map, and in this time I used grunge map 10, and I'm going to take the uniform color, which is basically a darker color of this. We kind of want to mostly work with the same color and play with the values, and a little bit maybe the, you know, the hue and saturation. And yeah, like you can see that entirely the difference for this is both the saturation and the value. Okay, and we add this with just copy, at least for now, and we basically, you know, break the monochromatic aspect of the uniform color. If we go entirely on top of this, okay, we can get something that looks like it has seen better days. Of course, you can dial it back. This will also work, but you can start to see the lines. Okay, so it's probably best to lower it a little bit more even. Maybe something like this. Okay, after that we basically get stuff from here, which is the branches. Okay, after our warp we have them over here and we throw in the color for them. You can make them green if you want to, or more darker green if you want to. You can, yeah, you make them red if you want to. You can make them blue if you want to, and or you can just leave them brown. Maybe something like this could. Yeah, let's go with this. It doesn't matter. Okay, of course, from far away you kinda start to see the pelling, yeah, the noise. So I guess the base pattern might need a little bit of work. So let's see, we will see in a bit what we can do with that and if we can fix it. Okay, we have our branches, and then basically what I did over here, I took the microsurface without the moss, because the moss is going to get you know, its own color, its own path. So it's this, and I basically do just a copy of a higher value from one of these, or basically the base. Let's go with the base. And what this is doing is basically giving me highlights. So it works like, you know, making this little, this very little rocks or height variations or stuff like that. So it works to kind of give it the, you know, the dry shape. Okay, like it was hit a lot from the sun or something, without cracking. So maybe this is a rock underneath of it, but it's just too dusty, you know, stuff like that. Yeah. So after that, it's the time for the moss. Okay, we have our moss, we have our blend, and you can see the little patches it does. And basically we just, you know, I wanted to add something that breaks. It wasn't monochromatic, so I just worked with two greens, blended them with black and white spots one. Okay, levels, you can see it over here, and then I blend them again with levels, did a warp, we get this, and then we're blending them with this color, and we're blending them, and we get this nice effects. Okay, and well, this can be used in some other stuff, I believe, because it's kind of nice. Okay, and then we're adding it back into our map. Okay, it's basically just a few green areas, and after that we have our dirt, our first pass of dirt. Okay, which is this. Go to smooth, and if we raise the contrast or lower it, maybe it'll raise the dirt amount. This should be more, let's try subtract. Okay, this will actually subtract color formation. If we lower it, it's going to make it feel like it's shadow or something. Maybe subtract blue. Yeah, let's control the. Okay, so for the color we're pretty much playing it pretty safe. So as you can see, again, the values are basically differences on the value. Okay, and yeah, we have the first pass of dirt, and then I wanted to basically take my bin inclusion and apply it 2 times, just because you know, it can be a little bit more pronounced, so you can see that it's not really that much of a shadow when you add it. It basically just gives you the differences into your colors. Okay, and basically helps to, it will work as dirt. And yeah, because I'm doing subtract, all that means it just goes into the color you have beneath of this, and it's just going to remove your values, okay, because it's all white. So it's going to subtract white values, which means it's going to darken your colors. Okay, so it's not going to be applied like it's shadows, but just changes on the values of your color. Okay, and then we output to our base color. Okay, and we have also our ambient inclusion. So yeah, this one, this is it. Let me take this. Again, this one was a little bit simpler, but I kind of like how this looks. Or actually, let's try and fix the. Let's see if we can make the, you know, the purling shape be less pronounced. So we're going to take this, throw it down here, open this, go like this, and down here let's take a purling noise. Let's make the warp even higher. Let's break the directional warp, and let's see what will happen if we turn this into 50. This kind of breaks it, but it still kind of shows, I believe. Well, actually this isn't even too bad, but of course, since it's all procedural, maybe we can add, let's try with a slow blur grayscale again, and this time let's try a purling noise zoom. See, min max. Yeah, let's try with this. Let's put this one over here, and let's put this one over here. So this breaks a little bit also the effects of the, you know, the strong shapes. Let's see if we lower the distance even more. It's going to start breaking things a lot more. Okay, a simple material, because, well, I didn't have that much time with holidays and I got more work, so yeah, I didn't want to leave you with nothing. I'm also preparing a few stuff that has to do with you know, texturing environments and stuff like that, but yeah, I need to prepare resources for all of this, and we will see them into the future. So as always, like, subscribe. Don't forget you can also download the material from my Patreon page, and if you also want to, then you can also support me there, so we can continue keep making stuff like this, or well, better stuff, and we can also venture into some other areas. So I'll see you next time.